Top 5 paranormal YouTube channels. Are they good or are they bad for the paranormal community? Well, I guess it depends on who you ask, because there has been a lot of controversy, around top 5 channels for a very long time now. And it seems to have reached a bit of a head after a few debunking channels have called out top 5 YouTube channels for, manipulating stories or clipping videos to try and suit a narrative that adds to the tension of their videos. Now, this came to the attention of myself because someone mentioned this. Beardo and a couple of other debunking channels had essentially called out top 5's channels for manipulating footage, manipulating narratives, and also manipulating the videos to make it seem as if something's paranormal as opposed to it not being paranormal, if that makes sense. And, the big ones that always seem to get called out are Slaptam, Nuke's Top 5, Chills, and, I've got my own experiences that I'll go on to in a minute with top 5's channels and, potentially manipulating footage and stuff like this. But, I've heard a lot of stories of top 5's channels that go around and, people will be like, oh, my video was featured. If I've ever made a reaction video, for example, back in the day, people would be like, oh, that was my video, but that's not the story behind it. Like, that's completely made up. I'll be like, oh, so what is the story? And then it turns out to be something that not duller than that, but, it's not as enticing, let's say, as what the top 5 channels make out. But this was what Beardo had to say, because he had a video featured on a top 5 channel. He says that he can't remember which one it was, but I think it was him and Ghosts on Trent, I believe. And he says that, they had an experience, they ended up debunking the experience, but this paranormal channel ended up clipping the video up and essentially made it look as if it was a paranormal encounter, and that these guys were genuinely believing that this was a paranormal encounter, even though they debunked it later on in the video, but that part wasn't included. Here's what he had to say.
Myself and Ghosts on Trent did a paranormal investigation at a reportedly haunted church. We thought we heard footsteps and talking. We went to investigate. There was nothing there. So Ghosts on Trent's video comes out, and there's the footsteps, there's the sound. Ooh, could this be somebody approaching the church? There's nobody outside. Me and Mark had run all the way around. Nobody there. Spooky. Until we worked out that the sounds of the footstep on the gravel were actually Paul unpacking a microphone from inside of a bag. But because of the acoustics in the church, it made it sound like gravelly footsteps as opposed to shrink wrap. And then the squeaking that we thought were voices was the foam cover of the microphone. But we debunked it in the Ghosts on Trent video. It was included straight after the fact. And then this top 5 channel put out the ghostly footsteps, the sounds, me and Mark running around the building, and then they cut out the debunk and then cut back to something after the debunk of us discussing it. It was chopped to make it look like we had a paranormal experience when that's not what happened and not what we put out there for the world to see.
Now, obviously, as a debunker, in Beardo's case, and in other debunkers' case that may go out on paranormal investigations, obviously, this kind of thing could potentially harm their credibility, right? To say that, for example, if Beardo goes out there and people see this and it's seen by, let's say on average 500,000 people see a top 5 video, they're going to look at this guy and they're going to be like, well, he claims to be a debunker, but he believes absolutely everything that comes his way, all right? But if you actually watch the context of the original video, that's not the case at all. But because it didn't quite fit the narrative of the top 5's channel, that's what they ran with. That, they cropped it down to make it look as if, that was the case. And, I can see why someone like Beardo might get upset by that, because he's a man of his credibility, let's say. He likes to pride himself on his credibility, and he feels as if that's what carries his channel and whatever. So I could see how that could potentially be harmful. But I reached out to the top 5 channels because obviously, when things are said, I like to make sure that I'm getting the facts from every angle, okay? So I reached out to multiple top 5's channels, including Callan from top 5's, from Slaptan, sorry. I reached out to Nuke's Top 5. I reached out to Chills. But this was the message that I broad brush sent to everyone. And I stated, hey, Callan, I hope that you're doing well. I just wanted to reach out as I'm in the process of piecing together a video regarding some allegations that have come against top 5's channels. Allegations of top 5 channels lying about backstories regarding clips used manipulating footage to make them creepier through sound added in or through video manipulation, and taking clips out of context to suit a narrative that isn't the true to the original story. I wanted to reach out to see if you have anything that you'd like to say or mention within the video, like your comments on the matter, or if you wanted to join me on a call so I could hear your side of it, you'd be more than welcome. Thanks for taking time to read this, and I hope to hear back from you soon. And I sent that, like I say, to Chills, Callan, Nuke's Top 5, all of which I've had conversations with in the past, like kind of openly. And, on this, as you can see, Callan has seen it. So that was Callan from Slapped Ham. I also sent it over to Chills, who hasn't seen it, but I did also send it to Nuke's Top 5, as you can see from here, just for transparency's sake. As you can see here, hey Nukes, so it's the exact same message, just different header, and as you can see here, they have also seen it, but have chosen not to respond. Now, whether that's because they don't want to respond, whether they don't have a comment on the matter, or whether, you know, it's because it's actually the case, that's all speculation. But I've tried to reach out to these channels to try and get their side of things, because, you know, obviously allegations are thrown around left, right, and centre in the paranormal community, right? From debunkers, from paranormal channels. What I want to be is I want to be the person that sees the allegations and are like, okay, well, let me see what this person, like, obviously there's a whole paranormal nightmare situation going on at the minute. Debunkers have made the claims. I'm not on either side. I don't care what the debunkers have said, and I don't really care what Paranormal Nightmare have to say, but I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to be a fan of the truth, all right? So I'm trying to go to these channels and be like, look, these allegations have been made against you. Would you like an opportunity to respond to them? Like, and I would love to ask you some questions about it to see if, you know, if it's true or not. And that's what I want my role to be. I'm not here to, you know, back up or go against the claims made. I'm not here to support the claims made. Want to be the guy in the middle that kind of bridges it all together just to see what everyone has to say. But, like I say, I have had a bit of obviously, clips that I've made in the past from the Laney and Ben channel have gone on to, you know, be on loads of channels that have had, you know, they've used them in their top 5 videos. And essentially, you know, there have been a lot of times where I've had issues where, you know, people have either miscredited the videos or there's not been due diligence, in the sense that basically, long story short, there was a video of ours that went on to Callan's Slapped Ham, creepy videos that are trending right now. Now, regardless of whether it's real or fake, obviously I've come out and stated that our videos are fake, but, you know, I don't think it really matters to these channels whether the videos are real or not. As long as they've got that creep factor, that's all that matters. But this video was used.
In an eerie chain of events, TikTok user Paranormal.vd has posted footage that's been sending chills down the spines of viewers. After suspecting their house was haunted due to a series of inexplicable incidents over the past few months, the homeowner decided to investigate the matter further. Armed with a modified Xbox Connect SLS camera, a device often utilized by paranormal investigators to detect figures invisible to the naked eye, they set up the camera to record their living room while they were away. Their aim? To catch potential evidence of the supernatural phenomena that they've been experiencing. The footage captured, now circulating rapidly on social media, is nothing short of spine-chilling. The modified Kinect, designed to map out human forms, is seen detecting several mysterious figures moving about the room. Simultaneously, objects within the living room appear to shift positions as if moved by an unseen force. Strikingly, the objects seem to move in correlation with the detected figures, stirring further curiosity and fear among viewers. Could this be the compelling evidence of a haunting the homeowner was seeking? While skeptics may argue for a more practical explanation, believers in the paranormal will find the footage hard to dismiss.
So that was our clip, right? We posted that on YouTube to begin with. I did crop it down and put it on TikTok because the videos always did really well on TikTok. But there's a lot of, I wouldn't say lies, but I think just misconceptions where if Callan had watched the original video, you know, he would have seen the context of the whole situation. Like, obviously they state that it was Paranormal VD's video to begin with. It wasn't. It was ours. But I think just because they got it from the TikTok page, Paranormal VD, they were like, oh, it's their video. And then, you know, in the video, you even see me, right? Not in this one, but in the full video. Obviously, I talk about it. I state that it's not an Xbox camera, which, you know, I could see why it might be misconstrued as an Xbox camera because they can map out SLS stuff, but it was GhostTube SLS, and you know, they state that we were away. We weren't. Like in the video, you can see I was talking at the beginning, I then set up the camera, did all the stuff, and then, you know, recorded a bit at the end as well. And obviously, you know, it's not to the extremes of like, you know, it harms the credibility or whatever, but it's just, you know, those few little minute details that weren't quite right, and the narrative that was pushed within it, you can see how these things were a bit off. Okay, now I'm not the kind of person to get upset about it because, you know, at the end of the day, I just sent Callan a message over on Twitter and I just said, hey Callan, how's it going? I just wanted to reach out to say that in your latest video, you've featured one of our videos, but it's been credited to Paranormal VD. It's an old video, to be honest, I'm not all that bothered, but I thought I'd just let you know. Hope you're doing okay though, mate. And the only reason I truly sent that was I didn't want the credit for it. I wasn't that bothered. But it was just, you know, off the back of there being... If that's, like, if you get that wrong, you know, who else have you done that to? That was the kind of my thought process behind the whole situation. Was like, who else, hasn't been credited for their work kind of thing. Does that make sense? But what do you guys think? Obviously, it's a double-edged sword where I like Paranormal Top 5 channels. I think they're good to, like, just chill out to. But I wouldn't use them as a reliable source of information. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this whole situation down in the comments below. While you're down there, be sure to jump to get the hell out of that like button, subscribe if you're new, and until next time, I will speak to you later. Peace.